YouTube, you just saw me try to push my chair up, but it's all good. Hey everybody, I'm back again. It's Eli, the Marfan homie. It's here to give you guys another story. And if you're on YouTube, you can see, hey, I finally got a mic, so applaud to me. Yeah. And a stand, so double applause. I'm not gonna press it again. However, we are here. We're here give you guys another story. So today, I think I'm a little ashy, but again, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna try to fix that. But today is about my heart surgeries. So if you didn't know, if you're not, I guess following my personal Instagram page, I've had 3 heart surgeries so far, and I'm hoping, God willing, that I don't want to experience any more heart surgeries. They're painful physically and mentally. I don't like the hospital food. After the first or second day of hospital food, I'm over it. It's expensive because again, not only do you have the medical bills, but you also have all the food bills and everything else that you have to pay for. Um, I mean, again, it's cool, but to me, and it's not like I guess, not even the sponge baths. I don't even like those, honestly. But it's like there's a scent there's a hospital scent that you start to smell, and it's so hard for that scent to go away. You can take 10 showers in a day, and that scent is still there. But anybody that spent more than a week in the hospital probably knows what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, man, 3 heart surgeries before the age of 27. That is the name of the title for this episode. So I had 3 heart surgeries before the age of 27. But before we hop into that, we're gonna go and say what's up? What's up, you guys? So what's up? What's been happening? Um, yeah, man, what's been happening? Let's see. So this is the 28th. I think again, last record was last week, probably 21st. What's happened in the past week? Um, dang, not too much. Not too much. I can't even remember, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the schedule of this recording because I'll probably record every other off week. So therefore, more can happen in my life, so I can then report on it. You know. Um. So yeah. So that's what's been happening. I'll probably remember as I go through, but who knows? Um. How's the month been going? How has February been going? Well, we're at the end of February, the shortest month. We did not get a leap year this year, as in that they could just give it to us. So it's that every 4 years. So I think we're due for a leap year next year. So if I'm still here, recording podcasts and doing my thing, I'm gonna record one on February 29th. So if anything, that should make February 29th a Wednesday, right? Today's a Tuesday. Tomorrow would be the 29th. It makes it a Wednesday. No, it would make it a Thursday because everything is pushed back by a day. That's usually how that works, right? Or with the leap years, 2 days. I don't know. You guys will check it. Let me know. What day does February 29th fall on next year? And shout out to all the people that are probably turning, 4 or 5 years old, technically, because they celebrate their birthday either on the 28th or the 1st, or that sweet second in between, literally. But shout out to y'all. You guys are special. Again, you're like 5 years old according to leap years. Where are we? So that's how the month has been going. The month is cool. Like I said, was it Valentine's Day, friend's birthday, everything that I mentioned up to this point. So yeah, that's cool. If I don't mention it on the next episode, Creed's coming out on Friday. I'm pretty excited about that. So gonna go see that. And then whatever else this weekend has in store, has planned. Whoop, whoop. How's work going? Work is cool. Again, I think I asked this question because again, work is a big part of your life. After I finish work, I come and record every Tuesday, and so yeah, work's a very big part of my life. How's it been going? It's been going good. Start a new project tomorrow. I was going to start it today. Decided not to. Just decided to get some other things out the way. But starting a new project tomorrow. And then with that, I start to see why people take the vacations between projects. Cause man, once you like let go of one project, it's a big relief, big load off your shoulders type of feel. And I'm just like, okay, I see why people do this. But I told myself last year that I'm going to take at least one day off every quarter. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, however, that's what it worked out with. That's what it works out for me with my job, and this, well, with, with my occupation, and this, the way their vacation works. So I'm gonna be taking off a day every quarter, again, just to relieve, lower my blood pressure, because again, we know that's important. And just take the time to relax. Take that full 24 hours or 36 hours to just relax. Um, but yeah, that's how it works and going. So again, take those vacations, relax, de-stress, and whatever else you have to do to just not feel the pressure of what it is. Um, what's next? So let's get into it. I put a young and understanding heart issues. So like I said, 3 heart surgeries under the age of 27. People may have had more, people may have had less. I just know where I'm at and the type of surgeries that I've had. And if we're gonna go technical, my mom said I had like a hernia surgery when I was like a young lad. I don't know what age, probably 3, 4, because I don't remember it, and that's when I started like gaining my memory, like at the age of 4 or whatever. Blah blah blah. That's neither here nor there, but it was definitely 3 heart surgeries before the age of 27. And so like I think that just comes with the territory, right? Having Marfans, being careful, being watched. Shout out to my pediatrician, or my, it wouldn't be my pediatrician, but he was a pediatric heart doctor. He watched me up until the age of 18, and he said, "I can't see you anymore." I was like, "Oh man, that was my favorite doctor." He every year, basically every time he told me and my mom to come in, we were there. Shout out to Scottish Rite, shout out to Emory at Scottish Rite, um, in Atlanta, Georgia, Decatur, Georgia, to be specific, for hooking me up and getting me out of there as quick as possible. But shout out to them, and shout out to, like, again, Baylor Sky and White in Texas for doing my other 2 surgeries. But I'm gonna walk you down. I'm gonna walk you down a little trip down memory lane of how I basically got to excuse me, sorry, how I got to the point of having 3 surgeries before the age of 27. So let's do it with the first one. I believe the first one happened at the age of 17. This was the summer before senior year of high school. And I honestly thought this was probably one of the biggest surgeries I was going to have, dealing with my heart. Boy, was I wrong. Um, so, uh, so again, pediatric heart doctor. I think that's the how you would describe their like technical term and stuff like that. But he basically saw me every year from, like, I would say probably birth. Who knows? Until we found him. But he saw me every year up until the age of 17. Yeah, up until the age of 17 when I had that heart surgery. I think that was the last time, up until I turned 18 that following November, that he saw me. And again, he every time we went, we took, I think, what they would call the echo, I think, whichever one, they rub the jelly on your chest, and they look at your heart and they see how it beats, and you can see the picture, sort of like how they do for pregnant women. I think it's not a not a sonogram. I don't know. Who knows these technical terms? But they were doing those, taking pictures of my heart every year, and just noticed the growth. I think I don't know the correct centimeter dilation that you have to reach in according to be like in sort of like a danger zone type thing. However, I reached that at 17. It was that summer that year, and said, "Come on in." And I think that's what it was. Yeah, I had my appointments around summer vacation because, again, I didn't have any school at the time. No need to get out of school and whatever else. So my mom would plan my doctor's appointments around summer vacation, and that, again, watched every year. That summer, I think that was the summer of 2012 that I graduated high school in 2013. Shout out to class of 2013. Um, but that was the summer of 2012, and the doctor had said it's time. And again, this is we couldn't fight him. This was over 10 years of just watching my aorta. I think it was my ascending, so the one coming from the heart, just grow, tear, grow, tear, whatever. And I think one day, um, yeah, and I remember that too. One day, I had got off the school bus. It was hot. You know, Atlanta gets hot like in April. So it was towards the end of the year in May. I got off the bus and something weird and odd happened to my body. But one day, getting off the bus and walking home, I finally reached the street where I live on, and I'm walking up the hill, and my body just starts getting hot. And I think this is the first time I experienced one of those like hot flash things that I get now. Um, when I'm like too hot or dehydrated or anything like that. I was walking up the hill and I started sweating profusely. I think is the word. I started sweating heavily, started panting for air. I could barely make it up the hill. And then it's again at my house, my house is the one on the hill. So I had to walk up the hill of the driveway. I could barely make it. By the time I got to the front door, I'm like ringing the doorbell. My brother's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Well, he came to the door. He's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I was like, "I do not know." He's like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I said, "Of course not. I am not going to the hospital." Honestly, I sat on the toilet, sat in the bathroom for about a good 30 minutes, just sweating, stripped all my clothes off, used the restroom a couple times, just waiting for my body to go back to what it would be normal. So I think that played a part until when we went to the doctor later that summer or whenever it was, and he was like, "Oh man, yeah, we could see this hole right here. We could see this tear. Like it's happening. It's grown to where like it's starting to tear. Again, we're gonna plan the surgery, but up until that point, you should be fine." Blah blah blah. So I got back home, told my brother. He's like, "Probably what that was. It probably just that day that hole poked through it, and your body went crazy." And that goes into the other stories that I have, like leading up to the other surgeries that I had. Um, so that summer, that summer came in, and that summer came in. Oh, I gotta watch the battery on the laptop because I'm doing this without the charger in the inside. However, that summer they planned the surgery. I think it was like honestly, I got to sorry to tell you today, like July 12th, 2012. But somewhere in July, because I went to school the next month, and the doctor was like, "You did not have to go to school." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna stay at home. There's nothing to do at home." Um, so no, I was senior year. That was when I first started growing my locks. That was the year. No, my locks fell junior year. However, senior year, my locks were getting longer. You know, I was feeling myself. I thought I was the tall, dark skinned, pretty boy that I've always wanted to be. Um, but no, I have got my hair twisted. I got my shape up. I was ready. I bought 2 new pair of shoes, bought a couple new clothes. I was ready to go to school. Um, however, again, let's go back to the hospital. Had the surgery, or even before that. The night before the surgery, I'm just like, they was like, "Are you scared?" My family's just asking me like, "Are you scared? Are you this? Are you that?" I'm just like, "Nah, man. I mean, I don't know what to feel. It's my it's my first surgery. I'm remembering. Yeah, I know it's pretty like hard." And then like one of my older brothers, he's describing it to me. He's like, "No, they're gonna break your chest open, right?" I said, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, man. That's how with the surgery that you're describing, like how they reach the heart, they break your chest open." Little did I know, or little when I woke up. My chest, my sternum was cracked clean open. Um, it 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 mended back. However, he's like, "Yeah, they're gonna crack your chest open. They're gonna replace that." However, they didn't replace it. They not stented. I think it's stented, but they basically grafted. That's what they did. They grafted that portion. So in my mind, I never really asked for that. I mean, even at the time I was a child, but now I've switched to a whole different doctor. they probably don't know. They probably don't even look at it when they go in there for the times that they have been in there. But so what? This is what I was told. It was basically the graft is a synthetic material that goes around the ascending aorta, to where it's tearing or ripping, and I think they either stitch it to that part, or however they get it to attach to that portion, so therefore blood flow is normal, rather than, again, if you have a hole in it, your blood is leaking out and your rest of your body's not getting the blood that it usually that the heart usually pumps and stuff like that. But yeah, so night before, I just woke my mom up and I was like, "You ready?" She was like, "Yeah." And my sister woke up. She's like, "You weren't gonna tell anybody?" I was like, "I didn't think it was that big." She's like, "No, let me put some clothes on. I'm coming." So it was me, my sister, and my mom. We just went to the hospital. Like, again, the last thing I remember was honestly putting on the robe. I don't even remember them putting this thing over my face. No, I take that back. I do remember. He's like, "You ready?" I was like, "Yeah." He put the thing on my face, and that was it. I remember more on my neck surgery, but I woke up. I was ready to go. I was ready to go. I woke up ready to go. They was like, "No, no, no, you gotta stay." And I woke up and I was hungry, I was thirsty, and that was the first time I had a chest tube, the little chest tube thing. I wanted that thing out so fast. I wanted that out so fast. So they took that out. I had to get some ice, and I think more of my family came by that time, but I got some ice. That's, again, the whole routine. Take the tube out, wait like an hour to 30 minutes to an hour, then you get some ice. You still can't put anything down your throat. Then again, you get some water. And then like the next day they put you on a little clear diet, then whatever, depending on how fast you're progressing, your blood pressure and the healing, blah blah blah. You get some hard food or physical food, whatever they call it. But I remember I got man, that was a crazy experience. And on top of that, I only spent 3 days in the hospital after a surgery of that magnitude. I only spent 3 days in there. They was like, you healed pretty fast. I don't know if they were gaslighting me or whatever the case may be, but they was like, no, you're pretty fast. No one, even again, no one heals that fast after surgery like that. I was like, I don't think you guys understand how much I wanted to go home. Um, but yeah, 3 days. I remember my brothers come in. My brothers like put me in a wheelchair, walked me around the hospital, walked me around the garden in the hospital. I remember a lot of these things like it was yesterday. They sent me home with the good stuff, the good pills, the ibuprofens and the hydrocodones. 17-year-old just taking hydrocodone, just all the pain was never there. Again, even when I was in the hospital, I didn't feel the pain, but partially because I was tapping that morphine button like it never ran out. And I think I'm the reason they put a cap on that, because every time I tapped it, morphine was being injected. I didn't feel a thing. I was just like, man, I want to go home. I feel great. But little did I know it was morphine playing off everything that was going on. Because by the time I got home, probably the next day, it was a wrap. So get my papers, go home, get all the gifts that everybody bought, go home. The first night, I had the worst dream. And I think it's because all the medication, everything that was just in my body, I had the worst dream. That was the first time I dreamed and I yelled out loud, like in person or in real life. And my sisters came rushing in the room, like, "You okay?" I was like, "I don't think so." I was like, "I don't think so." They was like, "Man, it's some drugs, man. It's some drugs. They got you on the good stuff." I was like, "I guess." I tried to go back to sleep. I think it took me like a good hour to go back to sleep, because I think at that point my body was uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep on my chest because it was broken. It Sleeping on my side didn't really do. Again, I couldn't really like put any pressure on any, because it cracked me straight down the middle. So it's like I slept on my back for like a good week or two, and that was the week or two before school started. Went back to the hospital for like my 1 week or 2 week checkup. And I was like, "Hey, can I go to school?" They was like, "Why do you want to go to school?" I was like, "I don't want to stay at home. Home is boring." They was like, "You can go, but you have to guarantee two things. You don't wear a book bag," which was very hard for me. "And you don't carry any book in your hand that's over 10 pounds. I was like, man, all right, I think I could do that. I got handed a calculus book the first day of school. That book was like 15 pounds. I was like, mm, 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 math teacher, I can't take this home. Luckily, she knew that I had just came off of surgery. She was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. You have to take this one home, and we'll keep one in here in the classroom. And even then, my school was limited on calculus books anyway because whatever. So I had to make sure to keep that one at home and then keep one at school. I was like, you realize you put me at risk. I could break my chest apart at any moment. She's like, you'll be fine. I was like, all right now. But yeah, that's how that went. And so that beginning of that month of August, I would say that month of August and like mid September to where I started like carrying my book bag again. It's pretty hard because again, all the teachers give you books. You got to carry around notebooks. I've never really been the kid to carry around just like a binder until like the last week of school where they say notebook bags and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, it was worth it. It was cool. Got home very light, just walked home and whatever else. For the most part, my teachers were cool with it. If I told them why, or I told most of my teachers, I was like, yeah, I just came off a heart surgery. They're like, why are you here? I was like, miss you guys. They were like, whatever. I was like, well, it was all good. They understood. They were very understanding of me, again, not having the book bag, not carrying heavy books, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as they saw me with a book bag, they were like, oh, okay, you healed, huh? And I was like, yeah. They was like, all right, take this book home. But it was cool. Plus, I had a locker, so I would change out my notebook every so often in my locker and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty understanding. Um, that experience wasn't as life changing as the next experience. Um, wasn't as yeah, definitely wasn't as life changing as the next experience. It was an eye opener just because like, oh man, it can really happen. And I think for the most part, all my brothers that have Marfan syndrome has had at least the first surgery with the ascending aorta and either replacing it. I think one brother of mine had replaced it with a pig valve because those, I think they say those are like the closest to a human heart valve that you can get. So it replaced his with a pig valve. I think one of my other older brothers was they had a graft. They was grafted like I was, and I think the other brother, there's four. Well, these four that I'm talking about, his was replaced as well. So you got two replacements and two grafts, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, like I said, it was definitely an eye opener. Not necessarily life changing, but definitely an eye opener. However, I didn't let it phase me any. Yeah, I honestly didn't. I went to school. I did what I needed to do. Graduated May 2013. Um, a couple of the people that I knew that I was sort of close with in school knew. I would like show off my scar and stuff like that. I thought it was like the coolest thing. So I was like, "You want to see my scar?" Like how Joker would say, "You want to see these scars?" Showed it. They were like, "Whoa, like dude, you're something else. You have a whole broken like chest, like heart, like what's not scab, but scar situation." And even then, I was that was my first time experiencing chest tubes. Um, that was my first time experiencing chest tubes. With that, that was crazy because again, I had two chest tubes just stuck in my sternum. They sewed me up and they just stuck them there. I think I still have the scars from them. Oh yeah, and all my scars are on my Instagram page on Public Enemy One __. I'll have all that in the description, so you can go and see it. However, two chest tubes just in my stomach, and they just ripped them out. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is new." But it weren't. They were the blood tube, not necessarily for breathing, but they were the blood tubes to capture all the excess blood and make sure it was all out. It was new. That was the first time, like I said, that was the first time I've ever remember experiencing anything like that. From the surgery to the tubes to the getting up every morning for the X-rays, and that was a lot. And man, all right, that was cool. That was high school. Now college, I was good. I was fine. All 4 years of college, luckily, no heart surgeries, no other type of surgeries. And again, that turned out cool. I mean, again, I went the whole 4 years. I mean, but at that point, I had the surgery in high school to where it would prepare me and help me again, give me a better life and get a better 4 or 5 years into my next surgery. which was by surprise. But again, I was lucky. I went out of school out of state, even though it was only half an hour away. Going out of school out of state. I mean, it's all divine at the end of the day because I could have had surgery in Alabama, if it called for it. But it's all divine, so it's just like that. Just waited for me to move to a better state, go through some things, and then have another surgery. Now we're gonna go to the next one. So now surgery number 2. Yep, just turned 24 years old. So that one, what was that one? That one was the year. That was one to talk about. What happened that year? So the year before, I moved to Texas. Um, I moved to Texas with my girlfriend at the time. Everything was cool. Everything was good. Got a job. Moved out here. Everything was cool. Everything was good. Um, yeah. So basically, let's fast forward to May 2018. May 2018, my job was about to send me on this mission, but they were about to send me to go like contract for another company to build up some software or build up some software for the team or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's fine. But little did I know, a little bit more stressful. I had to drive an hour to work, 2 hours to get back home. So let's just say at the time I lived in Fort Worth. The job was in Irving. Irving's an hour away from Fort Worth, but it's 2 hours in rush hour coming back. Sometimes 3. Don't let there be an accident. The Texas traffic gets real crazy. So that was one thing. So let's just say, bam, stress. This has been added to my life. And another thing was I wasn't necessarily working out the way that I used to. And again, not supposed to work out. However, I was less stressed because I was able to work out. Let's just say that, right? 3, that not to talk about anyone, however, it's just that job or that at that time wasn't beneficial for me. I think again at that time, I think my job that I was doing the contractor for, they just decided to stick me somewhere. I caught wind of that. Then I was at the job. They didn't really like me too well. Caught wind of that, and then it was just everything added. But let's just say May. So May at the time, that was the stress of like just knowing everything that's about to go on. Bam, bam, bam. So one day I'm sleeping, and a friend had just came in out of town, came to visit from out of town or whatever. So they're there. And again, they're not expecting me to go to the hospital while they're there. We're about to have fun or whatever. Bam, I wake up in the middle of the night in pain, in like mad pain. I don't know where this pain is coming from. I'm thinking it's in a dream, so I'm trying to wake up out the dream or just stop the dream. Nope. I was hurting. So I'm waking up at my girlfriend at the time, waking her up out her sleep. I'm just like, yo, it hurts, and she's like, what's going on? I was like, yo, it hurts, and I'm just like, yo, go get some ginger ale, and that's the cure for everything, right? Get some ginger ale, and luckily Walgreens was down the street and they were open, so I was like, yo, go get some ginger ale. And this is after like 30 minutes of me just like laying in bed, like feeling like I'm dying. I think what happened. So yeah, she went and got the ginger ale. After like 30 minutes, I took it like a champ. I was just trying to like push the pain down, whatever that is, mentally and physically. When something you can't even see, I tried to push the pain down while she was gone. So come back, drink the ginger ale, thinking, all right, this gonna help. This is the cure for everything. Nope. Drunk the ginger ale, drunk 2 of them actually, and she was just saying it might be a kidney stone, I was like, I never had a freaking kidney stone. I didn't know this is how this shit feels. And apparently, what I've learned was the way that a kidney stone passes is through your urine, and guess where that has to come out? Exactly. So I was like, I don't know. It just hurts. It hurts. So luckily, again, there was a hospital. I think this was the Texas Methodist System Hospital, for one of the Texas Methodist hospitals in there, Fort Worth, off Bryan Irving or whatever else. Drove their emergency room. I was like, I'm in pain. They was like, what's going on? I was like, yeah, it was in my like abdomen type area, but again, you could feel it through my back or whatever. And they was like, oh, okay. Took me in. I forgot what type of test they ran, but they took me in, and they was like, okay, it looks like it might be a kidney stone. The way you're describing it, just whatever test they did, and it was like it might be a kidney stone. And then I think they ran either a CAT scan or MRI. They was like, all right, he has Marfan. We need to take this a little bit more diligently. And they took me back and they said, oh, do you know what a dissection is? I was like, no, like explain it. I'm in pain. Hurry up. So it was basically your aorta has dissected. So basically what that means is like, think of it like an onion. And this is the way they said, think of it. So I'm telling you guys, think of it like an onion, right? So you have the onion and you have the inner layers of the onion and stuff like that. And what happened was one of the innermost layers serrated or cut. That basically got cut. How? I don't know. Oh, the night before I had some chewies. I'm not blaming chewies. However, I was good up until I had the chewies. And I remember that's what happened. I think ever since then, I have not been back to chewies ever since. Probably once. However, chewies was my thing coming to Texas. Now I don't touch chewies. I miss you guys' food. However, that will not be the Tex-Mex that I will eat. And then it was good. Conversation was good. We all went out. The friend that came in town, everybody all went out. Everything was good. Again, woke up in pain, went to the emergency room, thought it was a kidney stone. Take a second look. They was like, nope, it's a dissection. I'm just like, what? So yeah, they was like, we can't necessarily treat that here. There's specialists that are more out in Dallas. So that was a trip. So that was my first time in an ambulance. They had to transfer me to Texas Presbyterian. That was somewhere in Dallas. I'm pretty sure if I look it up, it's not too far from where I live now. So they got out. They got out, and this story is ironic because this plays into my. This plays into this surgery that I'm talking about. That's what it was. So I got out. The emergency doctor introduced herself, and she was like, yeah, you have a dissection. I was like, how do you treat it? It was like, basically, there's nothing we can do because it doesn't seem like too life-threatening. The pain will subside, and of course it did. The only thing they actually did was they kept watch over me for like 2-3 days. I took a week off of work, and that was just when I was about to start the other contracting job. I took that week off of work, and they just gave me pain pills. So the pain went away, but the problem didn't. So that's usually what happens with pain meds, right? So like again, the pain goes away, the problem didn't. They watch over it, bam, bam, bam. But even at that time, I didn't have a heart, like a cardiologist. I wasn't seeing a cardiologist. I had just moved to Texas. I haven't seen a cardiologist. I was still seeing cardiologists back in Georgia whenever I would go back to Atlanta. And all my eye doctors and every other doctor. So all my doctors were based in Atlanta. So time goes by. I'm at this new contractor gig, doing my thing, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm preparing for one surgery, a whole other body part, preparing to get my feet done. I was preparing for that surgery. I was like, okay, I got the doctor in Atlanta. He's going to perform the surgery. I'm trying to get the insurance in order. Like, again, I'm just trying to get everything in order so I could just go back to Atlanta and just like have him perform the foot surgery that I was supposed to get. However, my body is preparing me for a whole other surgery. It was crazy. So my birthday passed. I bought some shoes that I've been wanting since like third grade. The Michael Jordan 18s, the Jordan 18s, the velvet black and the blue. Again, those haven't been out since 2003. I bought them in 2018. I was like, man, I love these shoes. This is all like it happened yesterday. I bought them shoes while I was sitting at my desk at work, honestly. Um, and then my birthday went out for my birthday. Then let's say now, bam, Thanksgiving hits, right? I just turned, I had just turned, what, 24, just turned 24 that year. Um, so go home, go home, and driving home. Hold on, give me 1 second. Basically, drive home. Me and my girlfriend at the time decided to drive home. Bam, family's there. Bam, bam, bam. Thanksgiving happens. Bam, bam, bam. That Friday, so me, my brother, my sister, and a cousin of ours decides we want to go out, have a good time. Cool. Um, got fresh, blah blah blah, throwing my new J's or whatever. And as I got out the car where we were going, my body felt different. And I've never felt my body feel like this. It felt like it was tightening up. And I was like, I don't know. So we're there, order drinks. And this is the first time I've ever not finished a drink. And again, it wasn't even a big cup. It wasn't even a big cup at all. However, I put my cup down. I was like, my body's getting tighter and tighter. So ultimately, like again, we're not even in the club for an hour, yet alone 30 minutes. Like 20-minute mark. I said, yo, can you walk me to the car? I asked my brother to walk me to the car. He's like, you all right? I said, of course I lied. I said, yeah. Went back to the car. They spent like another 30, 40 minutes inside the club. I'm on the FaceTime with my other cousin. Bam, bam, bam. So the next day, oh no, even then, we were leaving. That was the year we decided to leave on a Saturday rather than the Sunday. Or was it Sunday morning? One of the two. So even then, I took first leg after like feeling my body tightening. However, I'm driving the whole time. Not the first leg, yeah, I drove the whole thing. I'm driving the whole time, never felt anything. Oh yeah, it was a Sunday. So we went out on a Saturday, woke up, drove back to Texas 12 hours on a Sunday morning to reach there by like 6 p.m., which was a good thing. Which was a good thing. So that means you get some time to rest and whatever else. I didn't feel anything. I felt good. Didn't feel anything. I think I even drunk a Red Bull. Didn't feel anything at all. So that Monday, what happened? That Monday was the weirdest thing ever. So like I said, it took an hour for me to get from my house in Fort Worth to the contract job that I was at in Irving. That Monday, bam, something started tightening up in my like abdomen, but you can feel it like in my chest area type thing. You can feel it. So I passed it off. I'm just like, I don't know. This don't feel too good. And again, being stupid, being prideful, being a man, just be like, all right, it's gonna go off. It's gonna go away. Went to work. Everything was fine. Tuesday, Tuesday was so crazy. I'll get up, drive to work, and as I'm driving to work in the same exact spot, I guess it was the same time and just sitting there in that position, but in the same exact spot, my body does the same thing. But this time it seems a little bit worse because it took more time to like come back from it, and like throughout the work day, I'm talking to this guy, and we're talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I just came from the hospital, or whatever. Got me an Apple Watch or whatever else the case may be." Or his mom, and this is the older guy, so his mom got him an Apple Watch. He's like, "Hey, you need to take care of yourself," and his mom is telling him this. He's already like 50, so his mom had to be at least 75, 80. So as he's talking to me, or as I'm like talking to him, I'm running out of breath. Like I'm clamped onto the table, thinking I'm about to fall out. He stops talking to me. Luckily, I didn't say anything, but he just stops talking to me. I was like, all right, I'm fine. So I got home that Tuesday, and I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, yo, I don't know what's going on, but like, there's been a tight pain like for the past 2 days. I was like, yo, if it happens tomorrow, I'm going to the emergency room. Um, she's like, all right. Um, so Wednesday, and again, I was not. I don't even know why I went so long, but Wednesday, woke up feeling good. No, actually, something happened before then too. In October, I believe that was October. Something happened in October of that year, where I had to like call out of work. I had got something happened with my body, and it was just weird, real weird. So that was weird. So I basically just, and that was the same time one of my other friends came in from town. And I showed them around, but I was already off of work. It was weird. My body was doing a lot of weird stuff that year. However, let's go to that Wednesday, right? That Wednesday, man, that was the day. So same exact spot. I was like, all right, I can't go to work today. Dropped the laptop off. They was like, everything all right? I was like, yeah, everything's all right. That day, I went to the emergency room and I went to Dallas Presbyterian, and the emergency room doctor, it was the same doctor. She was like, hey, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm not feeling too good. She's like, let's get some tests ran. I called my girlfriend at the time. I was like, yo, meet me up here at Dallas Presbyterian. You got to call off of work. She's like, call off of work? I'm like, it's not blah, blah, blah. I was like, yo, come on. She's like, all right, I'll be up there. Probably like, she came up there in like an hour or two later. But while I'm getting all the tests ran, it was like, so how do you feel about surgery? I said, what? They was like, yeah, so that dissection has now turned into a full blown abdominal aneurysm. So if anybody's familiar with the surgery or any like familiar with what's going on right now, abdominal aneurysm is no joke. Once you get one of those, you're basically gonna have surgery. Aortic abdominal aneurysm. I had a AAA surgery at the age of 24. They said no one, honestly, this young should be having this surgery. I don't know. It happened to me. She came back in the room. She was like, "How do you feel about surgery?" And I started breaking down. I was like, "What?" And then even at the time, like again, when my girlfriend got there, she was like, "What?" We both thought the surgery game was done. However, we always had like in the back of our mind, like, "Yo, surgery's gonna happen. Just not soon. You have one at 17. Can we wait till about at least 30 or something like that?" And jinx, I don't want no more. However, it is what it is. That day came. I had to call my mom, and that was a call that I did not want to do. So I called my sister first. I said, so hey, I'm at the emergency room, and they said I have to have surgery like tomorrow. This is why I love my sister. For one, she like just dropped everything she was doing and just started asking like, what, everything. And she was like, do you want to tell mommy or do you want me to tell mommy? And again, we go about that about our mom, because my mom, she worries so much. And like, I think that's one of her best qualities, honestly. She just worries so much. However, something like this is just going to send this lady over the rails, right? So I called my sister. She's like, do you want me to call her? I was like, you can do it. Literally less than like 5 minutes. I guess she called my mom, and then bam, my mom called me. She's like, where are you? How are you? What is going on? But like 20 questions within 1 minute. I said, mommy, I'm in the emergency room. I put it off for 3 days. I came in. They said I'm gonna have to have surgery, and with that's when I got introduced to BSW, Baylor Sky and White Heart Surgery out in Plano. Again, applause to them. Definitely applaud to them. They saved my life and whatever else the case may be. Applaud to them. They saved my life, whatever else. Um, that was a journey. And I'll try to keep this detailed and short because I can talk about this surgery all day. But it's my podcast, right? I do what I want. However, I'm gonna try to keep it detailed and short. I went to all right, second ambulance ride. That was cool. Had girlfriend at the time following behind the ambulance. We reached BSW Park. Bam. We just there. Honestly, we're just there. My mom was like, I'm on my way. She's a flight attendant, and I think she was like in the middle of the trip. She's like, I gotta go. My son's having the biggest surgery of his life. My sister, she came like within a day or two. She had to like make preparations for her children and everything else. It was so fast. Honestly, that week was so fast and rapid. It was surprising. Oh man, like again, it still gives me chills. Not necessarily goosebumps. I'm a thug. However, it gives me chills. That surgery or that day. So going to BSW that night, I say bye to the emergency lady. She probably, if I walk in there now, she probably will remember me. I just want to say hey, because I remember I walked in and it was like chest pain trauma over this way, and it was like, you having chest pains? I was like, yeah. She's like, all right, don't even fill out the paperwork, just come back here. I was like, bet. But went to BSW. I met that doctor. I just saw him the other day, honestly. Met him. He said, hey man, thanks for coming in. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, if you didn't come in, like I told him the story, like what happened. And he's like, you know how the doctors come in. Hey, tell me what happened. He's like, if you would have waited till Friday, probably Thursday, like the next day, you would have died. And I was like, what? He's like, just think about it. The pressure, the talking, and every other probably extracurricular activity that you were doing, you were putting so much stress on that aneurysm that you would have bled and it would have popped open and you would have bled internally. And you would have dropped dead. I said, well, I appreciate the bluntness, but he was like, yeah, man, it's nothing to play with. Nothing to play with at all. And so basically he's like, yeah, if you would have waited, you would have died. Thanks for coming in. And when you did, third time's a charm. If you would have came in Monday, we'd have got this squared away. However, you didn't know what was going on and we don't blame you. So that's Sunday. No. That Thursday. So I checked in that Wednesday during the day. They put the massive IV in my vein. No, yeah, again, well, if you guys can see my forearm, you get the small IVs at the top of the forearm next to the elbow crease. They put a massive IV in my wrist to start. I think I had like 4 IVs by the time I woke up. And I have pictures of that, and I'm gonna try to like edit this video to where I can incorporate the pictures and everything like that, so you guys can like see it. If it's not on my Instagram page already, it might be there. So go ahead and again, like I said, if you want to see the scars and me talk about more about these surgeries, there's a couple of descriptions on my IG page about these surgeries. However, let's plug this in. Let's not take any chances. Oh, no feedback. All right. We're there. Okay. So massive IV in my wrist. They were about to cut one of my little rubber bands off that I wear every day, and I was like, nope, you gotta take this out before you cut this up. I'll take the pain again. But no, it was a massive IV because I remember, I think I still have the scar, but I remember they had to nick my skin to get that needle in. That's how big the needle was. I remember, oh my gosh, I remember that. So that was on a Wednesday evening / afternoon after they transferred me and whatever else the case. I met all the nurses that were going to be a part of the surgery. They was like, it's going to be probably at least 10, 12 people in the room at the same time just watching over you. And watching the surgeon during the surgery. It was a big a triple A surgery is a big thing. You mention a triple A to any doctor, they're gonna be like, you are probably one of the bravest and toughest individuals that is walking around today. Um, so I meet the what's the person? You got the surgeon and you got the other person that's like in control of the gas that puts you to sleep. I forget the name. It's gonna come to me after I finish this podcast. But I meet him, right, and he was like, "Hey, I'm in control of this. We're gonna take really good care of you." And and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine." He was like, "So usually during these surgeries, when you wake up, everything is fine. In emergencies, what we tend to see is that you get gas, and what that gas can do is actually cause you to go paralyzed because of the way that we enter the body. And again, if you know the AAA is the shark bite, they start from your belly button and they go up to your upper back on the left side. So they open all that up and they basically replace the whole descending aorta at that time. Everything that's connected from the ascending to the point where I think my last surgery stopped down to my abdomen of the start of like that lateral aorta that's in the abdomen. So all that has been replaced within me up to this point. And I'm talking about to the point of the surgery up to this point. And he was like, "Hey man, so one thing, if you get like this, if you get nauseous when you wake up, and we're gonna stand you up on like one of the couple of days after being bedridden, so we can teach you how to walk again." I was like, "What?" It was a lot. We'll have to issue an epidural. And I was like, I thought only pregnant women get that. They was like, no, it's basically a nerve relaxer, so nothing bad happens to what we need to do. I was like, oh, okay. Sure enough, 6 days, got up for the first time. 6 days after being on bed. I don't even think my legs work at this point, but they were moving. They checked my nerve action in my feet every day. I think this is the most annoying, but uh like learning wise stay that I've ever had in the hospital. They checked my nerves to make sure I can move my feet every day, because again, at the end of the day, your aorta is connected to those nerves in your back and stuff like that, going along the side or the back or whatever. It was a thing, man. So sure enough, I tried to get up. I was like, "Hey, I feel nauseous." They was like, "Put him down, put him down." They called him in. He luckily he wasn't too far, but he wasn't at the hospital at the time. So I had to like basically just lay there until he got there. He's like, "Hey, I'm here. We're gonna do this." So they numbed up my back, put the epidural in, another big ass needle, and issued that. And then they tried to get me up the next day. They said no more getting up for the rest of the night. Tried to get me up the next day. Everything was fine. Total, I spent 12 days in the hospital. I spent 6 days in the bed before I started walking, but 12 days in the hospital. And all 12 of those mornings, 4 or 5 a.m., you got x-rays, you got the blood pressure, you got the blue thing where you got to see how strong your lungs have gotten. You got to learn basically how to brush your teeth. I couldn't even lift up my arms at one point. Oh man, and I'm gonna tell you what I did to the the nurse that tried to flip me. I ended up slapping him. However, we're good now. We're all cool. I saw him on my third surgery, which I'm gonna explain shortly. But yeah, we're all good now. Epidural, food, learning how to walk again, learning how to brush your teeth again, learning how to bathe again. That was so hard. Having other people wipe your butt after you did number 2, that was weird, but it had to be done because I had no strength, no rotary skills to like honestly move my hands in a motion. I was in so much pain. I had staples going from my stomach to my back. I couldn't sleep on my back. If I did, I had to sleep with a pillow on my side. There were so many things that like went into that surgery. I think I'm gonna have to talk about this surgery again in full detail, because it was crazy. It was a thing. It was crazy. It was crazy. So where are we now? So they said basically if you were older, this would go a lot faster, but considering that you're so young, your nerves are going crazy. They say as you get older, your nerves become, or you become less sensitive to things like this. Like your nerves become less sensitive. But since I was young, I felt everything. I literally, you couldn't touch me and I couldn't like cry out for help. Um, let's just go to recovery. Recovery for that was crazy. Once I got home, I had a high bed at the time. My bed was high. My mom came to stay with me on and off for that whole recovery period. My aunt came to stay with me. My sisters came to stay with me. My niece came. She was probably like less than 1 or 2 at the time. Um, but like it was very, very crazy. Um, Yeah, it was crazy. It was very crazy. There's not too much I can say besides again, thanks for all the support from everybody that supported me throughout that journey because I think I took like 2 months off of work because I was just like I've never experienced anything like this a day in my life. So I took 2 months off of work. Um 2 months off of work. Thank God for like the whole paid leave thing, FMLA, whatever the case, whatever I used to be able to take those 2 months off. Um it was just crazy, man. It was crazy. Uh, I remember one time I was in my bed and my mom was home and I couldn't get out of bed. I was doing pretty good except for that morning. I had to like call my mom. She was on the phone and she couldn't hear me yell, "Help, help, help." So I had called her. I was like, "Mommy, you don't hear me like calling you?" She's like, "No, what's wrong?" I was like, "I need help." She dropped the phone and ran in the room. She's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I want to go to the sofa." I was Man, I ain't gonna say I milked it, but I felt like I was completely dying. Like it was real, man. That was definitely a real experience that you can't fake it. And if you do try to fake it, the doctor's gonna be like, "Go home, you faker. You don't see anything wrong with you. You want to pay $10,000 for a CAT scan to fake it? That's up to you." Um, but yeah, that was a thing. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna make a whole podcast about this surgery. Let me make a note to make a podcast episode about this surgery. Make a podcast episode. I write slow, forgive me. About surgery 2. Because it was honestly this surgery was a miracle. Honestly, the surgery was a miracle. Um, the way that it happened, the way that I was able to wait until I got back from Texas. Um, because again, don't get me wrong, Atlanta has some very strong, very good doctors. I think that again, like I said, it's divine. I think the Lord just really wanted me to get back to Texas for them to perform this surgery. Because like even like I said, it was divine earlier. Like I was preparing for a foot surgery, the Lord was preparing me for the heart surgery. He said, "Go home, have a good time, have your birthday, have everything that you need. However, you're gonna meet this obstacle and you're gonna have to go through it, and it's gonna change your life." And I think, that, like I said, that my first surgery wasn't necessarily life changing; it was eye opening. But this one was life changing. So I remember one time I walked down to the uh I walked down. Well, not I walked down. I got strolled down in the wheelchair down to like the floor. I was like, "Hey, can I leave the room today?" They was like, "Yeah, just don't leave the campus." So walked down just to the main lobby, and I looked outside and I started crying. And my girlfriend was like, "What's wrong?" My girlfriend at the time was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "Nothing. It's just I could have died. I could not. I there is a high possibility that I would not be sitting in this wheelchair right now if I would have waited till Friday. Because we at the time we even discussed waiting till Friday. But I was like, I don't think there's anything to play with. Third time's a charm. There's just too many things that could go wrong by waiting till Friday. Excuse me. But there was just too many things that could go wrong by waiting till Friday. And so I was happy, I was sad. I think it was just one of those days you just had the emotion of just like of a thanks emotion, like this was really happening, like really happening. And I was like, I can't believe where I am right now. I can't believe that this has happened. I see the bad in it, I see the good in it, and I just see the miracle in it at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make episode because again, I think I just talked about this for over like 30 minutes, and there's so much more to it. Uh, Next surgery, bam, next surgery. Couple years has passed, right? What year is it? 26 years old. A lot of things changed. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we broke up. Um, got into another relationship. Bam, bam, bam. Uh, and went to the doctor January of 2020. Yep, before the world had shut down. Surgery number 3. So this was the lower abdomen, aortic, lower AAA. So basically, the way that I described it was, or that I thought about it was, again, you have your AAA, you have your shark bite, the one from the like left side of your belly button all the way to the back. However, they reopened the belly button, the bottom portion of the scar, and had to go all the way across to the other side to replace the remaining part of that aorta because that was starting to swell. And the doctor was like, and I don't know if people experience this, but like when the doctor says, he's like, oh yeah, you don't get this pain right here. They'll poke you into place, and then you'll go home the next day and get that pain. That's what happened. I was like, man, if there's something, if I would have never went to the doctor, I would have never do, and this pain would have never came up. But I think I did experience it one time, probably like 3 months after my recovery, at the gym. Who knew? At the gym, and I felt something, but that was the only time that I had really felt it. And then 2020 comes around. It was like, hey, right there, you don't feel that sometimes? I was like, no. And then again, the next day I felt it. But January 2020, went there, had a CAT scan. Again, this was my normal checkup for the surgery that I had prior in 2018. What happened? I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm at there, and he's like, yeah, this another surgery. Okay, I was like, all right. It's not how I wanted to start my year at all, but another surgery. So they was like, we're gonna probably do it in like March sometime. Yeah, that's what they were doing. They was like, we'll do it in March. Uh, Spend the days in the hospital. You'll probably be out here quicker than most. If your last surgery is any recollection, I had a different surgeon, but they were on the same team, so they actually both worked on me on both surgeries. The pandemic started, so I got there, told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, they said I'm gonna have to have another surgery. And now a whole new panic of just like, what do you mean another surgery? Like, you just had one. Bam, bam, bam. So, because again, I told her what everything that happened and whatever else. Told her like, hey, bam, this is what it was, this is what it is. So, supposed to have that surgery in March. Little did we know, February goes around, the world shuts down, probably like towards the end of February or mid-February. The world shuts down. Doctor offices shut down. They're figuring out this whole teledoc work type thing, and everything is basically trying to be figured out at this point, right? So I'm keeping in contact with well, no, I'm not gonna talk about that this episode. So I'm keeping in contact with the heart doctor, and just like, hey, this is what are we doing? Is this how this is gonna happen? They was like, no, we're gonna have to push it back up until like end of April. All right, so I called them mid-April. They was like, no, we're gonna push it back till May. So May rolls around, things are looking up, and it's like, all right, we can't put this off any longer. Bam, I have the surgery. I think this time around, I was either in the hospital for either 8 to 10 days, around that time span. But again, the pandemic, so it was like I was the only one that could be in the room. My girlfriend couldn't be in there. My family came down, they couldn't be in there. It was crazy. So it's like basically either like my girlfriend would go all the way back to Fort Worth and travel all the way back to Plano because we're at the hospital in Plano for this surgery and the other one. Or sleep in the car. I think one of the nights or two of the nights she decided to sleep in the car. Cool. However, it's just like they gave you like the set hours, like, hey, one visitor, you can only put one visitor on the visitor log and stuff like that. One visitor, 8 to 8, they can stay there all day, but they gotta leave. So even one day we tried to push it, and he was like, I don't want to be mean or rude or anything. You gotta go. I was like, oh, you gonna leave me here? It was that was more stressful of a surgery because I think, yeah, I didn't have anybody like right there the whole time. They would send her home. We couldn't really fight it or like anything. It was just, again, that was COVID rules at the time. Especially you had to keep the hospital with older people and people more susceptible to COVID-19. It was just like, man, it really sucked. But like I said, 8 to 10 days, made it home. By that time, my family had came like either the day before or something like that, the day before or like the morning before I got home, and they were there. So they were there, helped me out while they were there. I think they stayed for like a good 4 days. Um, but that surgery, I think I was able to tackle that surgery a little bit, like they didn't just tackle it better because oh god, I have gnats in here, so I'm waving them out my face. Uh, but I was able to tackle that surgery better because again, I've already had one of the biggest surgeries that you could possibly get as a Marfan or anybody with a heart condition that happens to have aortic aneurysm in their abdominal. Um, it was again, even with that one, I had just turned 26. I turned 26 that November. Everything was fine. Um, up until that January, and that's the thing we had just like had the talks about like being healthy, being alkaline, or just like being closest to alkaline as can be, just like being healthy, health birds. And again, we still are. It's just that surgery really put a damper on things. Um, so yeah, that surgery happened in May. So from January to May, we're just honestly having the time of our lives within COVID. Honestly, from there to May, just having the time because again, COVID shut everything down. Besides like grocery stores, shout out to those people that still work. Yeah, shout out to y'all that still work during the COVID. I know y'all don't get enough recognition, but however, I'm recognizing you guys. So shout out to y'all. Uh, but it was a thing. It was definitely a thing. So we lived as much as we could during COVID. Did what we did, and the surgery happened in May. Had my family come out. I vlogged some of it. However, that never turned out, and that will never see the light of day. It was shot on a GoPro. I returned it. That GoPro, it was not the best. I don't think GoPros were meant for me. I was trying to do the whole Adventure Time thing and whatever, but it wasn't working. But surgery number 3, as you can see, like I don't even talk about it or think about it that much because it happened so fast. And again, it was prepared, it was scheduled, and everything like that. It's always better to have a scheduled surgery than an emergency one. Um, but that surgery again, it hurt. I could barely walk. My skin now had to heal up again, and you had a scar that had to heal up twice now. It was a thing. It was in less than a year and 8 months. Like it was a thing. I had to. All of it had to heal. Everything had to heal. Um, and I think even during that time, I think that's when I got down to one of my lowest weights again. Besides in November, but I think I forgot to mention I entered the hospital probably like at 210. I exited the hospital at like 175. So I lost a lot of weight during that time. But during the second time around, at the 2020 surgery when I was 26, I had already lost weight due to a prior surgery that I had, and I'm going to talk about on another episode. And from that point, it's honestly been harder to get all my muscle and whatever back up to now. I've been working so hard to get it back up to now that it's pissing me off. But again, patience is a virtue, and I think that I'm gonna definitely get the physique that I've been searching for all these years. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be definitely be a thing. What's yeah, like I said, I could run through that surgery. It's significant. It was significant. It just wasn't as an event as an event as my surgery when I was 24. It just wasn't, and it's such an event that I'm just like it again. It was another eye opener. Definitely taking better care of my body. Watching what I put in there. I do consume junk every now and then. I'm gonna make an episode about what I eat on a day-to-day basis, what I ate after all my recoveries, after all my surgeries and stuff like that. So we're gonna reach there. Just give me time. It's all in the process, right? But again, shout out to me and everyone that's been through those surgeries. Anything dealing with the heart, you are a survivor. You are definitely a survivor. So shout out to us, really. So now, finally, we have reached the words of advice. So let's see. Let's pick this up, right? Uh, words of advice. There's no amount of mental or physical preparation that could prepare you for surgery. That's any type of surgery. Honestly, whether you got shot or something bad happened, you know it's gonna happen. You don't know what to prepare for. And you're lucky enough if you're conscious at the time that they're trying to tell you or a family member what's about to go down. But let me read that one more time. My words of advice for today is there is no amount of mental or physical preparation that could prepare you for surgery. And that's more of like a comment, but advice would be like, hey man, go in there with an open mind. Go into any doctor's office when they're talking surgery with an open mind, because again, at the end of the day, they're them and the Lord like in control. Everything like you have to let go at that point. Um, just say, hey man, I'm gonna see you when I wake up. Honestly, there's nothing else that you can say. There's nothing else that you can do besides say, I'll see you when I wake up. Like again, I told both my girlfriends that. I told my moms that. Told my brothers that. Not my mom, but I told my mom that. I told my brothers that. Told my sisters that. Like yo, I'll talk to y'all when I wake up. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Like it was that simple. Like when I had surgery in 2018, November 2018, I didn't pick up that phone for like 3 4 days. I couldn't move my arm for one. Couldn't move my arm. I think they had me on my right arm the whole time during the surgery so they could work on the left side. My right arm was out of commission for at least 3 4 days, and I could barely move my left because all the staples going along my body would hurt. And anytime I tried to move my left hand, every time I tried to move my left hand, my 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 left side of my body would hurt. So I was like, man, no phone calls. Yo, if you call me, call one of my people that's here. Put them on. They're gonna put you on speaker, and we'll talk like that. But like, it was crazy. It was real crazy. So in conclusion, take what the doctors say seriously. And I have learned this over the years. They went to school to study you. They study your anatomy, and they're they're paid to save you. If they don't save you, they don't get paid. I mean, it's weird to look at it in that way. However, not even necessarily they don't get paid, but there's a lot, blah blah blah, politics. However, they have went to school to study different functions of the body and different ways to save it. So if they're telling you like this is preventative and this will help, 9 times out of 10, like 99.999 plus 0.001 or whatever, they are telling you this because they're trying to help you preserve and save your life, so you don't come back to them and they cut you open. So again, like I said, one of the things I've been doing, I've been taking my health even more seriously. I've been trying to eat better. Not even trying. I've been eating better. I consume probably, if not the same amount of water, but I was drinking a lot of water back then too. Probably more. So probably let's just say double the amount. Um, I I I try to smile more. I try to laugh more. I try to do things that my body can feel mentally and physically, and put me in a better space. Because like again, I at the point of like in May 2018, I was getting ready to enter a stressful situation. During that whole time to October 2018, where something funny went on with my body, and I had to take some days off. Stressful situation. I wouldn't say driving back and forth from Atlanta, but even all of that, I was stressed about I was stressed about getting the surgery done for my feet so much that I wasn't noticing how much stress I was putting on my body or my heart as a whole. And again, the Lord preparing me for a surgery, for a heart surgery. Um, again, so with that being said, I try to stress less now, and I think that's been working. Like, namaste, honestly. Um, I breathe more. I talk to myself more in a calming fashion, and just try to stay calm and collected. And if I ever get out of that calm and collected state, I hurry back and try to get there as quickly as possible. Because again, I know that raising my voice, raising my blood pressure, raising my pulse, and things like raising anything is not beneficial to me. So I try to keep everything as low as possible. So again, that's the doctors tell me to do the same thing, so I try to do it. Shout out. So again, shout out to Texas Methodist for the dissection. Shout out to Texas Presbyterian for the pain treatment for the first time and figuring out that I'm gonna need surgery the second time. And shout out to Baylor Sky and White to for both the surgeries that they performed. Shout out to Emory for the first surgery that they performed. Shout out to Baylor Sky and White Heart Hospital in Plano that they performed, to the surgery that they performed. Both of them. Shout out to my ex girlfriend for again taking care of me. Shout out to my current girlfriend for taking care of me. Shout out to my family, my friends, everyone that called, came, sent baskets, everything. Shout out to all y'all that came to take care. Like again, honestly, came to take care. Uh, and just I guess extend your hand out to me. And again, the the prayer warriors. Shout out to all you guys. I don't take you guys for granted. I don't take you guys lightly. Um, and again, you know, if you were ever in that state or ever in those shoes, that I would do anything that I possibly could to honestly make you feel better. And if you don't know, now you know, because I honestly will. Because again, I owe that to you guys, because you honestly, you did it for me. Um, but yeah, man, that process, this journey, well, that part of the journey was not easy. Very, very different. I learned a lot, whether it was with my work, whether it was with my body, whether it was just like staying at home. I learned a lot. Again, as moving forward, I'm hoping not to experience those things in the magnitude or anything. I'm hoping that I'm done with surgeries, honestly, especially the heart surgery. I can't take it anymore. I just can't. However, I hope I'm done with it. Again, shout out to everybody I just gave a shout out to. How to reach me. So like I said, the pictures of the surgeries or the scars are on my personal Instagram. Have not yet uploaded them to the Marfan Homie Instagram. Still being worked on, or still working on that. So you can go. The description is going to be, the Instagram page will be in the description. However, you can go on there and see all the scars, and I think I got a couple uploads of the surgery, and I'm not gonna say viewer discretion is advised, but it's scars up there. I mean, anybody that's had surgery, anybody that's had a cut, or anybody that's been cut, like again, you have a scar, you're gonna see it. And I think again, scars are what make you. Like, you got a scar, you're dope. You don't have a scar, you're pretty dope. You're all right. But you have a scar, you're dope, man. Like if you have a story to tell, you're dope. You're a very dope individual. And again, the fact that you're still standing here means a lot. Means again, you're not done. You got something to do. Get to it. Um, that's how I feel. Like I feel like even though it's taken me a while to get to where I am and to get comfortable enough to talk on this podcast about these certain things, I think this is one of the things that I was called to do as far as just like speak and tell people. Honestly, don't be afraid. I'm afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of heights. Afraid of my taking my shirt off. Afraid of doing a lot of things. However, I'm here to tell y'all that I'm trying not to be scared anymore, and so should you. So let that be a thing. So how to reach me? Everything will be in the description. In the description on how to reach me, whether it's on my personal or my Marfan homie handles. Uh, and subscribe. Again, if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe. If you didn't, subscribe anyway, and then tell me what I could have said or done differently. But if you enjoyed these stories and you want some more, definitely stay tuned. So subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. Ping, all that good stuff. So you get the notification when I drop this episode and more. Yeah, man, it's definitely been. This has been a great story time. Like I said, we're getting up in the time ranges of what it is that I'm discussing on this podcast. So again, I hope you guys really enjoyed. I really enjoyed talking about all of this again, and I can talk about it. I can talk about this for decades to come. Um, However, I think you guys will enjoy the next story on the next set of surgeries that I had. So please subscribe, stay tuned, ask questions, be involved. Um, yeah, man. With all that, honestly, with all that, everything that I've said, all I gotta say now is just peace, man. Peace to everybody. Thank you for coming and listening. And once again, peace.